Here we are again, collecting more miles, right? How often do you go on the road?
At least every other week.
Yeah. Wow. Richard, you?
Back in the airport every week, it seems like.
Mick, I want to talk to you today because I'm walking through an airport and, I don't necessarily, associate you with traveling as much. But, as a travel buyer, you actually do get on the road quite often.
Well, I think we have to, right? It's almost like the chef not eating the food, right?
Great analogy.
Great analogy. If we don't do what we're trying to teach, then we're not going to be good teachers.
Exactly right.
There you go. What's different about being a travel buyer today?
If you focus only on consensus, you'll be paralyzed and you'll get nowhere. If you try to focus on bringing people together and ensuring that their voice is heard, then you'll get somewhere. You're not going to please everyone, it's impossible. Be upfront with the people that you're meeting with.
Right.
Say to them, you've given me 7 of your key triggers. I'm not going to meet all of them in launching this policy. And then be upfront with them and go back to them and say, here are the 2 I didn't meet, but we're gonna come back to that another time.
One of the things that comes through a lot in what you're telling us, though, is how important communication is, right? That you have to be clear about what you can do and what you can't do, what your goals are and what you're doing to achieve them, so that it doesn't feel like policy for policy's sake or a supplier chosen because you thought they were right, but that there's a real end goal that you're trying to meet and people are clear about what that is.
Absolutely. And what I think has really evolved in the industry with a lot of my colleagues doing the same is councils and user groups. But not for the sake of checking a box to say, I sent a survey out to 10,000 people, got it back, and here's our decision. Truly engaging with them and making them part of the process.
Technology. It's a challenging environment. As a travel buyer, how do you keep up?
It's hard. It's harder more in the last few years than it has in the previous. What's exciting about that, of course, is that the travelers are more educated. Mm-hmm. And what's irritating about that is that travelers are more educated. So it's hard because, as we all know in the industry, frequent travelers often think of themselves as travel managers. So I first and foremost will always go to my TMC.
Facilitator of the technology integration that you'll deploy.
And trusting that they should be coming to me first with what's out there in the industry, whether they have it or they don't have it. Mm-hmm. The other piece is where I think the travel buyers have a responsibility is to be fearless, to put yourself out there, to be known across all suppliers. Use me as a pilot.
Right.
If you have something that you think is great, but it's risky, great, I'm your man, give it to me. Because only then will they be able to really be able to test the marketplace and understand what works.
Yeah, we've both been on the other side of that equation where we have new solutions and I'm not afraid to admit, and I'll say it to most travel managers, that they're primarily a risk-averse audience. It's very hard to find the folks that will say, because they're concerned about if they make a mistake, it's going to reflect poorly on them.
But I also think nowadays, to your point, Tony, travelers are more open to that now in the last 5 years than they were previously,
I'll be a guinea pig. I'll be a guinea pig because I know it could take us to the next level.
Softwares allow you to see the betas of versions before they come out, right? Even major companies are letting us test. And I think if in our consumer lives we can beta test software, then we can beta test technology, because the upside is that we help them develop it in a way that's going to actually do what we need most.
That's right. And what greater environment to be in.
If somebody's coming out of college today, right, and they're thinking about a career, and that career could be in the travel space, the broader travel space, what advice would you give them or thoughts about why this is a great place to have a career?
I would absolutely recommend being in the travel industry to everyone. It is an exciting, dynamic industry to work in, and you can have many careers within the same industry. Many careers, and it's all of the skills that all of us have are transferable across this industry.
Particularly as a travel buyer, the ability to move from companies to companies and take that skill and help more and more organizations do the best with their travel dollars, it's phenomenal.
Well, listen, sounds like the 3 of us got a few more miles to go. What do you think?
A few more.
Sounds good.
I have a lot more miles than the 2 of you guys, but yeah.
Sure.